मतलब क्या?
आपके हाथ भी दिख रहे हैं।
कोई बात नहीं, चलें स्टार्ट करें। कॉन्शियस हो रहा है खावा खा हमारे सर को इतनी देर हो गई। हाँ नहीं तो अमर सर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर कमिंग and being part of it. I know you from my almost around second year of our college, second or third year. Second year.
I think in your final year.
Finally year हो गया था, हाँ. So I remember you coming in OAT. आप आए थे जब बीकॉन का एक सेशन हो रहा था. You came across as a very simple person.
I think एक और मीटिंग हुई थी हमारी, समीर introduced us. I think you were having a call with your story or someone.
अच्छा.
That time you were trying to close बीकॉन के media partners.
अच्छा.
I think वो first meeting था. फिर हाँ, of course OAT में तो हुई था.
Right. When I felt who you are.
Yes.
That memory I have that Amar Dixit is coming. When you came there and I was like Amar Dixit coming. Interestingly, you became part of the crowd. We were having few coordinators. We were standing on this side. Everything. But I want to let go. That told me who are you. You were bringing many ministers, many entrepreneurs, but you chose to be there. Then we had to be like, sir, up please idhar aaye. So that is my first interaction. Along the way, I have seen you doing pure hustle. I think two to three people I know in my life who really have done a lot of hustle and built their way up. Come from nothing. I think your name will be top 3. And now you are building Succeed. So I think we'll ask all of that.
Sure.
But sir, so I want to understand this, that your journey so far. So of course the background and why you really want to create a lot of value, why you are so much value driven.
Sure.
Secondly, we will try to understand from a young founder's point of view as to what really is required to, let's say, raise capital, or maybe try to understand the right problem, which really is problem. And particularly India में कैसे होता है, because I feel there's so much of generic way of doing things which go very irrelevant when they start doing their thing in India. I feel there's a good gap as to what Indian investors, customers expect out of you, in comparison to what is very generic coming from USA or some other country.
Sure.
So start करते हैं. आपके बचपन में सर क्या हुआ आपके साथ कि आपके दिमाग में ये हुआ कि यार मैं तो बहुत वैल्यू ऐड करूँगा, मैं बहुत ग्राउंड लेवल काम करूँगा. व्हाट हैपेंड टू यू एंड क्यों आप इतने ज़्यादा, वो क्या वर्ड होता है, ग्रिट के साथ ऑपरेट करते हो? सो
यार honestly I think probably it is from because of my father's background, right? So he's still a journalist, right? I think more than 30 years he's been in the profession, worked with all major, so he's in print media, right? He has worked with all major newspapers in UP, then Jagran, Amar Ujala.
You come from Faridabad?
Farrukhabad is the town's name. Yes. तो वो मतलब बचपन से ही वो कल्चर देखा था, right? He was friends with all the local politicians, but still he knew everything what's happening but never chose to get involved, right? Whatever good bad whatever is happening in the city. So I think वहाँ से वो ethics आते हैं probably. My grandfather, he was in army, so थोड़ा सा मुझे लगता है वो background वो upbringing में रहा होगा. That's it. And I think my first, I made my first money when I was probably in my 6th standard. हमारी family में मतलब we had we recently started a new business, right? So we are doing video editing as a profession. So मेरे uncle का color lab था. He used to print photos and all, right? So उसी का extension हमने सोचा कि let's, and this was all related to weddings and all, right? So we thought कि let's make an extension and video editing का काम शादियों का वो सारा शुरू करते हैं. तो उसी टाइम पे वो जो लड़का था जो the guy who used to work with us, उसकी फैमिली में कुछ ट्रेजेडी हो गई and he had to quit. I was somehow observing whatever he was doing. I was curious कि ये क्या होता है, कैसे होता है, and देखते देखते मैं थोड़ा बहुत सीख गया था कि यार क्या करता है यार क्या. So when he quit and पापा का उस टाइम पे तब father was also he also got sick, right? He had to quit his job. He was working with Dainik Jagran at that moment, and I had to take the charge कि चलो let's do something, because वो regular flow of income रुक गया था. So I worked with that. I worked on that venture I think for 3-4 months, and that is how I got involved in the family business. Got made my first money. थोड़ा बहुत पैसा बचाया उससे पहली वाली. उस टाइम पे हमारा क्रेज था. I was probably 11-12 year old, right? At that point, right? उस टाइम पे क्रेज था कि गियर वाली साइकिल लेनी है, तो पहले ही जो थोड़े बहुत पैसे बचाए थे उससे साइकिल खरीदी. किस्मत इतनी खराब थी, वो 2 महीने बाद वो साइकिल चोरी हो गई, बट स्टिल ठीक है, वो सेंस ऑफ अचीवमेंट था कि चलो पैसा बनाया, कुछ
And all
खुद
of
से
this is
खरीदा।
happening when you are in your sixth standard.
When I was in my sixth standard, yes, हाँ, मतलब बाबा, मेरे ग्रैंडफादर, he was very proud at that moment, right? So
हाँ.
मेरे दोस्त आते थे मुझे बुलाने, वो भगा देते थे कि वो काम कर रहा है, डिस्टर्ब मत करो उसको, तुम लोग जाओ खेलो जाके, but he was very proud, so I think, and उसी के कुछ टाइम बाद ही passed away, so I think that is a good memory of I have, at the when he left us, he was very proud कि हाँ चलो, my grandfather, मेरा my nickname is Kanhaiya, so he was very proud of me कि हाँ चलो ये सही बात पे अच्छा काम कर रहे
And
हैं,
your
कुछ कर
nickname
लिया।
was Kanhaiya.
हाँ, मेरा घर का नाम।
अच्छा.
So, वो अगेन रिलीजियस ब्राह्मण फैमिली, तो yeah,
Makes sense. And
yeah.
then how come you managed to have MBA from IIT Delhi? आप पहले कैसे, मतलब how did you figure
यार
out that मुझे
प्लान
MBA
में
करना
था
है?
नहीं, वो कभी नहीं करना चाहता था, इनफैक्ट मतलब मैं I used to hate MBA people because of the perception that the word has created कि यार बिजनेस करना है तो MBA करना है। मेरे पता नहीं for some reason वो एटीट्यूड में रहा है कि नहीं यार, जो हो रहा है वो नहीं करना है, राइट? मतलब जब किसी भी चीज को फॉर ग्रांटेड नहीं लेना है, राइट? कि किसी ने बोल दिया तो ऐसे ही होगा, वो रेबल एटीट्यूड, व्हाटएवर यू मे वांट टू कॉल इट, वो थोड़ा सा रहा है कि यार लोग बोलते हैं एमबीए के बाद बिजनेस करना है, व्हिच इज नॉट ट्रू, सो आई ऑलवेज वांटेड टू डू इट द अदर वे अराउंड, बट आई वाज बिल्डिंग माय ओन कंपनी एट दैट मोमेंट, एंड कुछ हमारा को फाउंडर्स कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हुआ, एंड वन ऑफ माय मेंटोर्स, ही वाज डूइंग हिज पीएचडी फ्रॉम आईआईटी दिल्ली, सो ही वाज पुशिंग मी कि यार कर ले, तू अप्लाई कर दे, मत करना। तो बिकॉज ही वॉज पुशिंग मी, आई समहाउ अप्लाइड, मैंने उसमें आई वॉज नॉट वेरी सीरियस कि यार होगा नहीं होगा, बट आई अप्लाइड एंड इवेंचुअली वो हो गया। तो जब वो को फाउंडर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा था, एट दैट मोमेंट आई ऑल्सो लाइक, मतलब आई वॉज डूइंग अ जॉब पार्ट टाइम, राइट? कि जस्ट टू सर्वाइव माई सेल्फ, जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड।
समय तक हो गया था?
मैंने बीसीए किया था, बैचलर्स इन कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन।
3 साल का कोर्स होता है?
3 साल का कोर्स।
ग्रेजुएट होके
हाँ,
आप कितने साल के हो गए थे? 22
22
21?
का होगा, यस।
एंड उसी समय आपका कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा था?
हाँ, वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट चल रहा था, यू इनफैक्ट नो द फाउंडर। तो आई वाज इन अ वे होपलेस कि यार
क्या करें अभी?
कंपनी तो छोड़ दी जहाँ पे काम करता था, यहाँ पे भी नहीं हो रहा है, एंड वी वर रेजिंग फंड्स, राइट? सो वहाँ पे मतलब ऑफ कोर्स जब पैसा होता है, पैसा इन्वॉल्व होता है, तभी ये सारी चीज़ें आती है, उससे पहले तो सब ठीक चल रहा था। तो एट दैट पॉइंट आई वाज लाइक यार अब क्या करना चाहिए, एंड हैड दैट बैकअप ऑप्शन, तो मैंने फिर ज्वाइन कर लिया। आई टुक दैट लीप ऑफ फेथ कि चलो ज्वाइन करते हैं, लेट्स सी क्या होगा, एंड आई थिंक द प्राइमरी ऑब्जेक्टिव वाज टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द कम्युनिटी, राइट? आई थिंक पढ़ाई तो की नहीं मैंने बहुत सारा 3 साल, बट आई जस्ट वांटेड टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द कम्युनिटी, आई जस्ट वांटेड टू लर्न, एक्सप्लोर क्या हो रहा है इकोसिस्टम में, व्हाट वैल्यू आई कैन ऐड, व्हाट वैल्यू आई कैन गेट, राइट? हाउ आई कैन बी द पार्ट ऑफ द alumni community and everything, so I think वो किया 3 साल।
करेक्ट। सो
Yeah.
अगर कोई स्टूडेंट
Yeah.
wants to do an MBA,
Sure.
would you recommend that person to, let's say, somehow getting an IIT MBA be done, or maybe go for IMA side of it also?
Yeah.
Because that demands you to be really very hard working, get CAT be
100%.
done, right? And फिर आप निकलते हो वहाँ से।
यार I think it all depends on what they are looking for, right? अगर आपको
हम्म
प्लेसमेंट चाहिए तो फिर आप ऑफ कोर्स आइडियली ऑफ कोर्स इट आल्सो ऑफर्स यू अ गुड प्लेसमेंट, वो पैकेजेस आपको मिल जाएंगे, आईएम्स में भी ऑफ कोर्स दैट मनी इज देयर, बट मुझे लगता है आईटी दिल्ली का जो एक्सपोजर है एंड आल्सो द लोकेशन, वो कहीं और मिलना मुश्किल है। दैट वाज माय रीजन ऑफ एटलीस्ट जॉइनिंग आईटी दिल्ली, राइट? कि
when you're
you are
figuring
in,
it out, you
yes,
don't know about yourself, what you
yes,
want to do.
yeah,
So you have that 360-degree way of doing things, and then you can take a direction along the way, build it.
100% बिल्कुल।
So okay, so I enter into IIT Delhi MBA.
Yes.
Let's say coming month. And
Yes.
how would you guide me to optimize and bring best out of IIT Delhi MBA when
Yes.
I'm clear that I wanna be an entrepreneur, maybe try to solve a problem,
Yeah.
operate along those lines?
Sure.
What would you share with me?
IIT Delhi has world-class facilities when it comes to education and everything, right? That all is there. I think what you can make use of best is the alumni network. So if you can probably get involved with any body like any student body like EDC, right? I think you have you would know better the kind of networks that you
I
can
mean,
make.
why would I know better? But yeah,
No, of course. The kind of people you get in touch with. So we have been there. We have worked
Yeah.
almost for close to a year together, right? So the kind of people you can network with, वो regular life में when you are out of college, वो बहुत मुश्किल है,
मुश्किल है।
right? The kind of people you can invite, and you'll have to figure out your own way, right? We did, our own way. We had our own approach of doing this, but you can always, figure out what's in it for you, right? So if you would want to be an entrepreneur, you can always reach out to these people, figure out what they would need. Some people, I think everyone, in life after a certain point is interested in giving gyan, right? So you can invite these people to campus, build some network.
Coming to inviting people, Amar sir invited Deepinder Goyal of Zomato.
We
Amar
had
sir
a brief
invited
call.
Nitin Gadkari sir. Amar sir invited Sachin Bansal of Flipkart,
Arre.
who in 10 years never been to IIT Delhi. And he has this interesting ability to somehow reach out people, get them do certain events,
Yes.
right? How do you do it? What I want to understand, how do you in general do the outreach in a smart way? And how much it is about you figuring out what is motivation for them, how much it is about the follow-up, how much it is about getting the initial contact number. Tell me, so let's say I want to invite someone who is very influential,
Sure.
be an entrepreneur or politician.
Sure.
How would you do it? What is your process?
Sure. Sir, I think मेरे लिए थोड़ा different रहा है path. If we take probably, so दोनों चीजें. One is I had some network जो मैंने over the years बनाया था, and वो network कैसे बना? Because for some reason I think I am good at maintaining relationships, right? जिससे भी मैंने बात की है, I make sure I have their phone numbers saved. I make sure that I वो होली दिवाली के messages भेजना. I be in touch, right? I don't normally lose contact. I'm always in contact, but I find some other reason to bug them and be in touch, right? I think वो थोड़ा work करता है मेरे लिए. And but this is not because I want something from them. This is just my nature, right? I think it's good to be involved with everyone. It's good to be in touch, I think.
Correct.
तो वो एक habit है, which is I think helping me in everything that I do, right? So if we take the example of Nitin Gadkari, तो वो फ्री का मैंने बहुत सारे किए, राइट? एंड उसका दो रीजन थे. पहला तो मुझे कमिटमेंट नहीं चाहिए, राइट? कमिटमेंट से थोड़ा सा डर लगता है, बिकॉज आई एम ऑलरेडी इन्वॉल्व इन सो मेनी थिंग्स. तो आई यूज टू वॉलंटियर फॉर अ मीडिया कंपनी. The founder, she is very well connected, 20 plus years in media, worked with all major news channels, right? So she's like a mentor to me. मैं उनके लिए काम करता था. I used to help her wherever I can.
This is in first year of your IIT Delhi, second year?
This is when I was doing my graduation. उस time से 2019 से I was helping.
कहाँ से किया था आपने?
I did IMS Noida. BCA, Bachelor's in Computer Application from IMS Noida. उसका भी unique story होगा, भी करेंगे discuss. तो तब से मैं उनके टच में था. I was helping her in her events and everything. उनका एक YouTube channel था that a following of 1.5 million, right? So वो सारा मैनेज करना, ग्रोथ स्ट्रैटेजीज बनाना. कुछ टाइम मैंने उनसे फील ली, फिर मैंने सोचा यार मेरे पास इतना टाइम नहीं है देने को. सो आई यूज्ड टू गाइड हर टीम. बस उनको बताता था कि क्या करना है. दे वर टेकिंग केयर ऑफ एवरीथिंग. सो वो कनेक्ट हमेशा से था. व्हेन आई जॉइंड IITD, आई टोल्ड हर मैम कि मैंने ज्वाइन कर लिया. शी वाज काइंड इनफ. उन्होंने अपने कुछ सीनियर्स का रेफरेंस दिया. व्हेन यू वर इन कॉलेज, हमने ABP न्यूज़ के CEO को बुलाया था. करेक्ट. सो ही वाज हर बॉस, right? So she was kind enough कि चलो ठीक है, आप मतलब he'll also get some value added. He'll also feel good to be part of this whole community to engage with the students. So वो first point था. Second, जब when Sameer was there, तो मैंने फिर उनसे गडकरी जी का पूछा कि since आप उनको host करते थे, तो you are in close connect with her. So she connected with me, she connected me with her APS. तो वहां से फिर वो गडकरी सर को हम गए इनविटेशन देके आए.
गडकरी सर के पास यू वेंट विद हेल्प ऑफ ABP के जो हमारे सर थे,
विनीता मैम के थ्रू.
अच्छा,
विनीता मैम, दी लेडी आई यूज्ड टू वर्क विद.
yes, okay. And how come Deepinder sir happened?
यार वो तो आई थिंक
सचिन बंसल सर और
यार ये सारे ऑर्गेनिक रीच आउट से, मतलब इसमें कुछ भी नहीं. नो,
व्हाट इज ऑर्गेनिक रीच आउट? नंबर मिल गया आपको?
हाँ, मतलब वो आपको करना पड़ता है. मतलब आई थिंक फर्स्ट स्टेप to do any of this, and you would know it because you have also raised funds, right? So एक होता है कि आप कुछ लोगों को जानते हो, वो नेटवर्क हमेशा फाइनाइट रहेगा, आप सबको नहीं जान सकते. करेक्ट, राइट? दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. यू हैव टू बी बेशरम. ठीक है, चाहे पैसा उठाना है, चाहे इनवाइट करना है फॉर ऑल ऑफ दिस सेशन, बिकॉज सबके अपने ऑब्जेक्टिव है, हर कोई बिजी अपनी लाइफ में. आपके एक इनवाइट से किसी को फर्क नहीं पड़ता. तो वन थिंग इज, आप नंबर जिसके ले सकते हो, जहाँ से ले सकते हो, लेके रखना, एंड देन स्टार्ट रीचिंग आउट, राइट?
But reach out to reach out somewhere like Sachin sir, Deepinder sir. How would you know what you wanna write? How would you end up coming to this conclusion that I have, let's say, certain amount of words which I can put into
Sure.
a message, because
Sure.
if it's a long good paragraph,
Sure.
they're not gonna read.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
How would you come to that conclusion? What
Yeah.
research you do
Hmm.
to come to that, and what kind of motivation has really worked for them to reply? Do you read their books, then
I read
compliment
their
them
books. Yes.
on
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
read a
Correct.
book.
तो यार थोड़ा सा
made
तो
my-
सेल्स की है मैंने लाइफ में.
हाँ, वही पूछ रहा हूँ.
हाँ,
Give us actionables.
तो थोड़ा सा तो मतलब they have to feel that
Value.
you are genuinely interested in
Yeah.
inviting them, right?
Hmm.
So Dipinder sir के साथ story was very unique. अभी तो बात नहीं होती, but when I was inviting him, when I wrote him the first message, I was actually reading his book. और वो sales tactic नहीं थी, मैं बस book पढ़ रहा था, and we were also prepping up for BCon, right? तो बुक पढ़ते पढ़ते मुझे याद है यार, I can probably click a picture of this and send him to him कि यार would you be interested in joining, and he was kind enough that he replied. In fact, he called me. He
called you right away.
Yes, I am interested in coming, but उनका Shark Tank का कुछ तो schedule fast रहा था, तो he couldn't make it. But yes, we had a very brief call, and उसके बाद things थोड़ा सा discussion went in the wrong direction, but at least I was वो icebreaker तो हो गया हमारा, right?
You
तो
could make him make
हाँ.
a call to you.
Yes, हाँ, because I think he in a way felt that कि हाँ चलो
Yeah.
you guys are. एक और हमने crazy experiment किया था with विजय शेखर शर्मा.
हाँ, right.
तो
Tell us about that.
तो एक ग्रुप था हमारा, वो EDC की जो regular
I
meetings
remember
होते हैं,
this.
right? So 60-70 people in the room, and we were like कि कुछ so we were able to close some of the speakers, कुछ नहीं close हो रहे थे, right? अभी क्या किया जाए? What you can what different you can try, because प्रॉब्लम ये है सारे कॉलेज के ई समिट सेम टाइम पे ही होता है. एवरीवन इज चेजिंग देम इन द सेम वे. आप सेम लोगों को सेम मेल्स लिख रहे हो, सेम मैसेजेस भेज रहे हो, कैसे आप डिफरेंशिएट करोगे? तो ये लाइक यार इतने लोग हैं, लेट्स आस्क देम टू क्रिएट अ मैसेज कि भाई वीडियो मैसेज कि विजय शेखर शर्मा वी वांट यू हियर एट आईआईटी दिल्ली. सो हमने रिकॉर्ड किया, 60 सेकंड का वीडियो था, आई थिंक 30 सेकंड का भी हुआ. वो वीडियो था, मेरे पास उनका पर्सनल नंबर था, मैंने उनको भेज दिया. वाज काइंड इनफ दैट ही रिप्लाई. Although वो भी नहीं आ पाए because वो पेटीएम का controversy. He replied. Yes. He said yes.
The question is basically on the point that you could make them reply.
100%.
It was a yes.
You have to think out of the box, right? वो regular mail लिख के तो नहीं
कुछ नहीं होगा.
नहीं होता. And यार ये मुझे लगता है ये अगर शायद मैं IIT दिल्ली में ना भी होता ना तो भी शायद होता.
That is you. So that another question will be that only, that how come you build this skill, and then why would you do it, right? But more than that, again, the follow up question will be कि जब ये आपने किया था,
right,
when you were doing all of this, you were not trying to act funky or controversial,
right,
trying to do something which is very stupid, which I also see people कि आप बहुत ही offending कुछ कर दो, controversial कुछ कर दो, you fake it, right? You go in a way which is creative, out of the box,
right,
and you would want VSS to be there.
right.
You like the Dipinder sir book.
Yes.
You be honest also then. You take it to an advantage.
Sure.
But आप कुछ एकदम अलग और एकदम ही problematic कर दिया आपने कुछ.
I think वो आपका internal motivation is also very important,
And the
right?
person you are, I mean, I think that is also there, that you want to maintain a decorum when you want to talk to these people.
ये
ऐसे नहीं है.
this has always been there, right? So I never compromise on my values, irrespective of the money. They are on the table. अगर मुझे लगता है this is against my ethics, this is something that I would not want to do, irrespective of the benefits that they are offering, मैं नहीं करता. वो थोड़ा सा रहा है. And मतलब it's not related to money only, right?
You follow to do everything, but अगर नहीं हो रहा है तो कोई बात नहीं, okay.
हाँ, मतलब अभी मेरे पास मल्टीपल कॉलेजेस के ऑफर्स आते हैं कि यार इसको बुला दो, उसको यार सिंपली IIT दिल्ली के साथ हमने किया because we are part of a community, right? But this is not something that I do for money. So they are like offer कर रहे हैं पैसा, बुला दो. नहीं हो सकता, कर नहीं सकता, right? I won't have the same willpower to work with you.
So again, to summarize, I mean, if I try to summarize your investment of time in IIT Delhi, what I could say that you took events as an example or a reason to build your network. And was it planned or it naturally happened to you?
Yeah.
How would you summarize the entire, your tenure in IIT Delhi while being part of ESL also and then being a student also? Was it planned?
Not really, यार. मतलब I think वो मैं zero expectations के साथ आया था. In fact, Navdeep was the first guy I got in touch with.
लोग नाम सुनेंगे खुश हो जाएंगे.
Navdeep को hi. So Navdeep से मेरा पहला connect हुआ था, and at that time you guys were doing something startup नुक्कड़ करके, right? तो मैंने उसका नंबर देखा किसी पोस्टर, मैंने उसको कॉल किया, उसने मुझे समीर से मिला. Then I met you. and the pure my intentions were कि चलो जाके सीखते हैं, because I never came with that mindset कि यार मैं कुछ value add कर सकता हूँ, मैं तो सीखने आया था. With time, I got the opportunity to lead, to do things whatever I could, but the eventual goal, the end goal always has been to learn, to experiment कि चलो क्या हो सकता है, let's see what we can do.
Makes sense.
तो let's मतलब we always try challenging कि और बड़ा क्या कर सकता है. मतलब मतलब जिस टाइम पे नितिन गडकरी को बुला रहे थे, तो उस टाइम पे we wrote to all major ministers. You think of the name, right? नितिन गडकरी को तो ऑफ कोर्स हमने लिखा ही. We invited मोदी, we invited अमित शाह, एंड हमने उस पे भी बहुत क्रेजी आइडियाज ट्राई किए. तो हमने उनके ऑफिस एड्रेसेस निकाले, सबके पब्लिक एड्रेसेस अवेलेबल है, और रिटन लेटर्स भेजे उनको
एड्रेस के साथ में.
हाँ, बहुत सारे रिवर्ट्स भी आए with regrets. मतलब ऑफ कोर्स एक ही मिनिस्टर
रिप्लाई भी आया
तेरे
वहाँ से.
हाँ. सो मिनिस्ट्री में आप जो भी लिखते हो उसका रिस्पॉन्स वो भेजता है. तो वो हमने ट्राई किया. आई थिंक अगर जो नेक्स्ट टीम है वो उसको करेगी religiously next time, if they'll follow up, I think eventually they can convert some of the people, because now they have their contacts, right? Now you have a card from their team saying कि इस बार नहीं आ पाए, probably next time.
कनेक्ट बना लिया आपने.
Yes.
इस साल नहीं तो अगले साल.
हाँ. अगर अब मैं तो नहीं करूंगा, नेक्स्ट टीम अगर करना चाहे.
बट जैसे दूसरा है तो ना, ये भी तो बात
नहीं पता मुझे. आएंगे, हम श्योर आएंगे.
अच्छा, एनीवेज, सो कॉलेज हो गया.
यस.
आई थिंक फाइनल ईयर में यू वर क्लियर यू वांट टू बी between investors and founders, get
Yes.
value there,
Yes.
bridge the gap which is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So very shortly, आप एक बार तो introduce करें. So what exactly are you doing? What value are you trying to add
Sure.
there? And yes, again, what you aim to achieve in coming 5 years in this direction?
Yeah.
If you continue doing this.
So with Swiftsheet, the goal as always has been, what value we can add. Of course, money is there. So we are, yes, we call ourselves an accelerator. We invest money, but we also want to drive your GTM, right? We don't want to add some value. सिर्फ पैसे डाल के, this is because of two things. One is, the goal always has been to add value, right? Second is, we are not, we are very new in this space, right? I don't have any background. The people I'm working with, they are also new in this space. So we don't want to put in our money in something we don't understand, right? जहाँ पे हमें लगता है यार इसका कुछ कर सकते हैं, इसमें कुछ वैल्यू ऐड कर सकते हैं, इसको बढ़ा सकते हैं, वहीं पे करना है. बिकॉज मनी इज फाइनाइट. सेकंड इज, मतलब एथिक्स एंड मोरल्स वो अलाउ ही नहीं करते कि पैसा डालो और भूल गया, राइट? वो फाइनेंशियल ग्रेटनेस दैट ऑलवेज हैज बीन देयर, राइट? द फ्रुगैलिटी हैज ऑलवेज बीन देयर कि वही करना है जो रिक्वायर्ड है, अननेसेसरी स्पेंड नहीं करना है, बिकॉज इट्स आवर ओन मनी, राइट? सो एज ऑफ नाउ वी आर very small group investing 30 is like the ideal, but range for us, ticket size for us, 30 to 50 lakhs in SaaS tech focused companies. The plan is to do on an average, at least for the coming year, to do at least 2 investment a quarter, like not more than 6 or 8 investments over a year, and eventually fund banana hai. But the focus will always be on, the focus has to remain on adding value, right? वो spray and pray model पे काम नहीं करने की, 100 companies में invest किया, now we'll see इनमें से 2 बड़ी हो जाए.
And ये जो पैसा है, this is
Yes.
your own money and your people's money.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Correct. And sir, एक और बात, when you say GTM and market में डालते हैं,
हाँ.
maybe I'm asking from a
Sure,
different
sure.
understanding, but
Sure.
tell me this.
Yeah.
Founders
Yes.
who really get things done need guidance, but I have seen them, they make their call.
Yeah.
More than that, they try to, how to put this together, try to take guidance and everything, but they then are gonna execute things in a certain way.
Sure.
Now when you say that as investor I'm gonna play an active role,
Sure.
what do you mean by that, and how do you draw that balance of mutual understanding that भाई आपको मैंने ये advice किया है, आप करो नहीं करो is okay, but
Yes.
आपको पता है as a human, if you really feel this is not how Shashank should operate,
Sure.
but Shashank end up doing something which is
Sure.
X.1 instead of X.
Yes.
How does that dynamics work?
So I think, yeah, firstly you have to agree that you're not the founder, right? But of course we are putting in our money, but वो, like you said, वो balance is very important. तो overstep नहीं करना है. Wherever you don't have to make the founding team, founders uncomfortable with your own ideas, right? They don't, they should welcome your ideas, but at the same time they shouldn't, the mutual respect has to be there, that if I'm suggesting something, they should.
ये करना मुश्किल नहीं होता.
Difficult है. I'm sure difficult है, but at the same time whatever I'm doing, whatever we are offering is just a suggestion, right? The help is always available if you need it. If you're confident, because first thing is we have to respect you to be able to, commit to our money in your company, right? So once that respect has, that trust is stabilized, that respect is there, I think for future conversations easy ho jate hain, because now ki you both are in on the same side, right? If I'm asking you to do something, it's for your own good. You take it or not, that's your call. And at the same time, I don't say that, whatever I'm saying is 100% true, right? So help is available if you need it, but at the same time, we'll not force anything. We trust you as a founder. We trust, the companies in which we are investing. And that is the whole reason we are investing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are two sides of the story. One
Yeah.
is as an investor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll
Sure.
try to summarize this part
Sure.
of it. Then
Sure.
we'll go to next part, which is
Sure.
say a young entrepreneur comes to
Yeah.
you. What is your ideal pick? And let's be very honest. You can say that, yeah, Shashank, there's a comfort for me to look at someone who either comes with a pedigree, which is IIT /
Sure.
something else,
Hmm.
or maybe something where I have seen the hustle plus there's some evidence of me knowing that this person has achieved already something in life.
Sure.
Right, so that risk you mitigate on day
Hmm.
one. Second
Hmm.
is market, of course. Third is other scalability issues. In your mind, how you really do the math, because आप अभी आप investor हो, you
Sure.
already have made
Sure.
couple of
Yeah.
investments.
Yeah.
So honestly tell me यार दिमाग कैसे चलता है जब आपके
हाँ.
30-50 लाख लाइन पे हैं, इंडिया जैसी कंट्री है जहाँ पे आपको पता है कि
Sure.
गलती करने के बहुत रूल्स
Fraud
नहीं
से, of course.
एंड देन
Yeah.
आप जाके ऐसे मिलियंस नहीं रेज कर सकते
Hmm.
out of nowhere, right? And things go wrong also.
Sure.
So in your mind, what all you consider
Hmm.
for you which are non-negotiables,
Sure.
and then you come to a conclusion that हाँ डालता हूँ मैं पैसा, बाकी हम देखते हैं बाद में.
I think first thing, which has to be there is how passionate about you are the problem, right? So the problem that you are trying to solve, उसकी कितनी understanding है, and how well you understand the problem statement.
Not
that has to be
passionate
there.
about being an entrepreneur solving a
No, no.
problem, but that passion should also be directed in a clear direction,
100%.
which is around the market
See,
and the problem in the
हाँ,
market.
so ideas, that is something that we understand, right? The problem statement that you may start with, हो सकता है थोड़े बहुत उसमें changes आए, right? Companies do pivot. That is something that we do understand, but the objective should never change, right? जो आप करने निकले हो, आप उसको नहीं change कर सकते, right? So suppose if you are probably running a D2C, you will not probably you will not change the nature of the company, right? जो भी आपका core objective है वो change नहीं होना चाहिए. That has to be there. And what insights you have about the the problem statement on which you're working. So suppose I'm an investor, I work with a lot of different companies, and I hear multiple ideas every day.
Correct.
Right? So if I know about any problem statement better than you, and you are the founder who's working on that thing full time, right? 100% of your time is getting in solving that only problem. तो अगर मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपसे आता है तो आई थिंक you're not doing justice to your work. Yeah.
That is
So
what.
first is that.
Passion.
Second is some sort of excellence, right? मतलब अगर होता है तो ठीक है, नहीं होता है तो we'll have to look at some other aspect, but you'll have to show कहीं पे तो आपने कुछ तो excel किया हो. I'm not saying you have to be from IIT, you have to be from any tier 1 college, but आप suppose job कर रहे थे तो वहाँ पे आपने अच्छा काम किया हो. आप कॉलेज में थे तो किसी अच्छे कॉलेज में कहीं
To be an high achiever in some
कुछ तो
form.
आपको दिखाना पड़ेगा, right? And I think that is something that everyone will look forward to, right? That, and we have seen enough examples, right? So people who were doing well in their jobs, they were able to get their bosses as their investors just because they know कि अच्छा काम किया है उन्होंने, right? So I think मतलब even be it me or your ex-bosses or anyone who's trying to validate you, if you're doing a good work, I think people will put in money. So
these are the
second
two
is that.
things.
Yes.
Second is that. What else?
Third is, for me at least, it makes a lot of sense that how ethical you are as a person, right? Because now we have started seeing, and this is very hard to gauge. Intuition based है. I don't know मतलब इसका कोई science है या नहीं. This is something that you'll have to probably understand by sitting with someone, meeting them twice or thrice, and understanding by nature वो कैसे है, right? Because we have seen a lot of companies failing because founders were using their money for some personal uses and all. So these three things are top of are on top of my mind. But of course there are कुछ और चीजें हैं जो आपके mind में नहीं रहती, but when you meet someone you realize कि अच्छा you can invest, the work that they are doing, how frugal they are with their money, right? Whether they can operate in hardships. You'll find a lot of founders who will say कि यार पैसा नहीं मिल रहा कंपनी कैसे चलो, ऐसे नहीं होता, right? You'll have to get started. है ना, वो आप ऐसे नहीं कर सकते कि पैसा आया तो मैं फाउंडर बनूं,
correct.
वो हो नहीं सकता.
Other side of it,
Yes.
right? And I want you to be honest.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it will help a lot of people.
Sure.
So they say that come into the market,
Sure.
work on a product, build something which is really valuable, get the clarity issue
Sure.
out there.
Sure.
You will have people supporting you.
Sure.
And when we look at India, you tell me this: you interact with all kind of startups, and you interact with all kind of investors also.
Sure.
Deep tech investors, people who provide the growth capital, people who are in between. Tell me how these people think differently. And again, the second question in that direction will be that what are the things you would want, let's say, me to know?
Sure.
That Shashank, you better be aware about these two to three things.
Sure.
It's good to know that there's an investor who's in deep tech company,
Sure.
a deep tech fund I'm pitching to. Maybe there's a growth capital provider.
Sure.
But then there are a few things which one should know when they as a founder go to fundraise,
Sure.
which may be not part of something which is a blog or a YouTube video. That is very how much. How to put this together? Culture dependent, interdependent, mindset dependent. What are those 2 to 3 things which you would tell me?
Yeah, I think, and you can correct me, right? I'll try answering whatever I could understand. So if I were a first time founder, the first thing I'll try to do is I'll try onboarding a super angel, right?
Super angel.
By super angel, what I mean is I'll try getting someone on my cap table who's very very well connected in the ecosystem, right? Because वो मेरी half of the problem solve करा देगा. For example, you have Azhar on your board, right? So if you'll take his name, 70% of your work is done कि यार वो पैसा लगा रहा है तो अच्छा ही किया होगा. So I think that one name is very very important, and I'm not saying you have to follow a celebrity founder only, right? You can probably onboard someone who's like industry leader in their space, right? And if they are giving you the validation, I think people who'll join after him, he'll be able to convince him that why they should invest. So एक तो आपको ऐसा person लेना चाहिए. You should not focus only on money, right? You should not take money from anyone and everyone कि यार just पैसा दे रहे हैं तो आप ले लो.
And you have to figure out who is that super
figure out.
Chase, follow up.
It is very easy. हाँ, मुझे लगता है people are people who are at least on top, they are very kind, right? At least the people I have interacted with, right? If you'll reach out to 100 people, you'll be able to convince at least one or two.
If you're being honest, just share who you are, what you're doing. Not try to fabricate things.
100%.
I think there are people who see through you,
100%.
ready to support you,
Bilkul.
and that happens. But continue.
To me at least the word has been very kind. Right? The people I have reached out to, the people I interact with. So they are, they would want to support you as a founder. And in fact, met a guy who's like 19-year-old. And he's building something for the gyms. So 19-year-old something for the gyms. Gymnasiums.
Okay.
So he's coming up with a sachet of protein powder. यूनिक कॉन्सेप्ट है, मतलब ऑफ कोर्स वो बड़े जहाज में मिलता है उसको सैशे में करके बेच रहे हैं. एंड ही इज गेटिंग सपोर्ट ओनली बिकॉज ही इज यंग, right? This is something that he has told me himself. He's not from IIT, he's not from any tier 1 college, but just because he is young, people are supporting him कि यार तू इतना सोच तो पाया. And that guy, good thing about that guy is he's not going with a concept. He has his own product ready in front of him, and he's saying यार देखो मैंने ये 100 बना लिया, अब 1000 बनाने के लिए मुझे आपका पैसा चाहिए, right? And network चाहिए. So I think that grit has to be there कि यार,
and you show some level of momentum and progress on your own. You're like, you need money and support and guidance, 100%. But आप अकेले भी खड़े हो सकते हो.
100%.
You'll find your way out.
Of course. And I think that is how the world is evolving, right? Given the kind of exposure everyone has, I don't think ideation पे funding होती है आज की डेट, right? You'll have to reach some stage, right? At least you'll have to build the MVP, some prototype, something that you can show to the investors कि यार देखो मैंने इतना काम कर लिया, अब आगे जाने के लिए मुझे आपका हेल्प चाहिए.
मतलब वो कितना भी डीप टेक है, चाहे आप चिप डिजाइन करो, चाहे रॉकेट लॉन्च करो, you will be able to show some level of momentum. आपके पास एक लैपटॉप ही है, you're able to, let's say, show what you have achieved with that laptop.
So deep tech में, see, suppose if you are building a D2C brand, so D2C में तो traction is a must. उसके बिना आपसे बात कोई करेगा नहीं.
करेगा
बट इन डीप टेक यू कैन एटलीस्ट शो कि यार मैंने इन 4 लोगों के साथ पायलट्स कर लिए, दे आर इंटरेस्टेड, दे आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द प्रोडक्ट, एंड आई थिंक दैट इज हाउ यू कैन convince investors कि यार join me on this round, see what value I am creating, and VCs, they have enough money, right? They can probably park in 20, 30, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs kind of a check, and they can participate in the next round, right? With a much bigger check size. I've seen that happening, right? मतलब वो कुछ नहीं कर रहे, they are just putting on a very small check and they would want to track you कि इस 50 लाख का आपने क्या किया, and then they'll invest in the next round, the bigger amount.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Correct. So let's say if I were to how to say this, make a plan to pitch,
Sure.
and if I'm doing, let's say, Series A or pre-Series A or a seed round,
Yeah.
if you're me, how would you go about it? Would you, let's say, create a deck, and how would you craft the deck, which is, oh, there's a problem, there's a solution to what I'm building, here are the numbers, and what things you will make sure, because I'm sure you went through multiple decks.
Yes.
So particularly on deck, when someone is putting things into perspective, what would you tell all the people who are reaching out to you? What kind of decks you appreciate in general?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone has started doing it. I'm not the only one, but everyone would want to, because by nature, by the market size, by the number of we have so many startups in India. So आपके पास दिन के 50 decks आ रहे होते हैं, right? And you'll have to figure out कि किस पे time invest करना है. So every time I am looking at any deck, I'm like, दिखाओ काम क्या हुआ है, right? Show me the traction side, slide, show me where there are some numbers, right? I don't like decks जहाँ पे just ज्ञान लिखा हुआ है, vision लिखा हुआ है, objective लिखा हुआ है, but there's nothing that I can understand कि यार चल क्या रहा है business में. Today only I was talking to a founder. He was like, यार we have a good brand name and we want to get it acquired. So this whole pitch is कि यार नाम अच्छा है,
अच्छा,
और इसको कोई एक्वायर कर लेगा. मैंने कहा ट्रैक्शन तो है नहीं, व्हाई वुड एनीवन इन्वेस्ट इन देयर
अच्छा
मनी.
नाम ढूंढा है, अच्छा ब्रांड बनाया है.
तो हो रहा है. आई डोंट नो, दे कैन आल्सो गेट एक्वायर्ड. आई डोंट नो.
So they are getting acquired.
No, they are trying to, but
Probably at least there's someone unlike you who is able to see the value.
No, I don't know. हो सकता है. There are a lot of visionaries, but from where I see, I think name hardly matters, right? Name तो कोई और कुछ और भी ले लेगा. You'll have to show something.
अच्छा, ये तो आपने सारे diplomatic answer दिए. Tell me this, that when there are 5 VCs sitting in an event and you have been sitting with them also, how do they interact? What they talk? What they say? यार deck आ रहे हैं, I'm not feeling anything very exciting about, let's say, this company. I like the founder, but the market is not big.
मुझे नहीं लगता.
Product is not good enough. What really discuss? Okay, deck हो गया. 2 बार investors ने बात भी कर लिया आपसे. Let's say आप उस decision maker के साथ बैठे हुए हो, and you have seen that decision maker talking to you. Deck वैक देख चुके हैं, वो सब बात हो चुकी है. How the final decision making happens? So I've seen people talking in a way which is, you take either founder risk, market risk, or PMF risk. How end of the day their mind is really evaluating possibilities.
यार इंडिया में ना, I think investors, and this is not their fault, right? I think the market is restructuring it in a way that people are not very comfortable in taking the first risk, right? So if you'll talk to any investor, the I think default response of them would be कि यार कोई और investor आए, lead आए तो मुझे बता देना, I can join, right? This is like the default response of any investor you will talk to. बहुत कम लोग होते हैं will show the conviction कि यार शशांक, I like your idea, I'll put in the first money, I'll be your lead investor and you get other investors. वो conversations होना बहुत मुश्किल हो गया, especially post COVID, post 2022. We all have heard about the funding winter and everything, right? So the kind of money which was easy money which was available earlier, वो इतना नहीं है. Right now people are more risk averse. They would want to understand कि यार और कौन पैसा लगा रहा है. The same investors who will say no to you today, if you can get any tier 1 VC tomorrow, right? They'll be more than happy to join your capital. मना करने के बाद भी they'll say yes कि हाँ चलो, I'll put in money. The moment you say कि यार some XYZ company is investing, any tier 1 VC, if they're coming on board. Second, I don't think events में यार actually deals होती हैं.
Events में
नहीं होते.
Events basically where there's a founder pitching, there are people around.
Yes.
वैसा उसमें deals नहीं होते.
I don't think वो हो रहा है. मतलब most of the deals, because events में if just in case it's a good event, partner level people are there, वहाँ पे probably कुछ हो सकता है, but most events I think they are attended by analyst, associate, level, people, right? And they don't simply have the decision making, right? So you're just wasting your time.
So if you are a founder, would you
Yeah.
be comfortable taking a call with an analyst of an VC firm, or would you?
You should not ideally, but again, that all depends on the kind of network you have created.
And
Ideally,
at
मुझे
what
लगता
stage
है,
of your company you are?
हाँ,
What growth you already have achieved?
I don't think
And
stage से matter करता है. I think it's all, on the basis of the network that you have created, right? And network is something that you can always create from day one. You have LinkedIn, you have emails. I think every senior executive, any senior founder, VC, they all check their emails daily. If they're not responding to you, that means
you are not good enough.
you're not good enough, or
And more
you're
than
not
that,
able
even if
to.
they reply and they
Yes.
see their analyst to have a
हाँ,
call with you,
हाँ,
you just need to know you are not really that exciting for them.
100%,
So you put your time, effort, everything in the
100%,
direction where you
बिल्कुल.
become more relevant for them to have a direct call with you, not put 3 years in between.
And probably what you should also try to do is, something that, I've seen a lot of good founders doing, right? That they always follow, right? Even if some investor is saying no, they'll keep on following up, they'll keep on
And
sending updates.
I think I have a different take on this.
हाँ,
आप बताना again.
हाँ,
If you're really good enough,
sure,
right,
हाँ,
and if you have that good traction, I'm sure there's a
sure,
middle ground also. People get to know about you. It's
sure,
hard to
yes.
be not being noticed. अभी अर्पी सर भी यही बोल रहे
Yes,
थे, your value
yes.
proposition is so good that
Hmm.
market forces are enabling you and making sure that you achieve what you're achieving.
Hmm.
And I'm sure fundraise आपको चाहिए
Sure,
होता है because
sure,
we come
sure,
let's say from
sure,
humble background,
yeah,
पैसा
yeah,
चाहिए आपको.
yeah.
But I think there's this also, there's a realization I think in our case. आप
Hmm.
काम करो.
Hmm.
People will want to write about you. People will sort of approach you.
Hmm.
There have been few senior VC firms and
Sure,
their senior people
sure.
want to have a call.
Hmm.
And what I felt at the moment I have personally focused building on the product, making revenue, profit, or those stuff. I am having more meaningful conversations and calls because as you said, आप अगर सामने से मेल मैसेज करते हो तो कोई लीड नहीं करना चाहता. Again, limited experience.
Sure,
whatever
sure,
be the case.
sure.
That
No.
also been a
So that's there, but the point, you're right when you say that, but I think the kind of the amount of startups which are there in the Indian ecosystem for now, and if you're not maintaining a good public profile, right? If you're not probably spending on PRs and whatever,
Correct,
right? If you're
correct,
not reaching out to
right.
journalists to write about you and everything, it's very hard for them to identify, right? Suppose if I'm not connected, on
Achha.
you
So
with you
using
on LinkedIn.
noise is so much for you to
हाँ,
stand out. You either to
हाँ.
follow.
So how would I
Definitely.
able to? So suppose you are working in the energy space, right? If you're not writing about yourself, if you're not if you're not being part of the events which are happening in your industry, how would I know about you, right? So you have to be in the ecosystem, right? You'll have to be available for me to at least know who Shashank is, what is wrestling doing.
वो एक वर्ड भी होता है ना जैसे awareness, biasness,
Yes,
ऐसा कुछ
correct,
है ना?
correct.
You
Yes.
need to be
हाँ, you
known in their mind.
100%.
उनके जहन में होगे तो
हाँ.
they will be able to
100%.
put you.
You'll have to be so
into place.
which is why we call it ecosystem, right? You'll have to be there, right? Matlab you cannot work in isolation.
Makes sense. Comes the last part of the podcast, sir. There's a series of questions. जल्दी answer करते हैं.
Yes.
Best 3 books you want to recommend to anyone.
यार I like 0 to 1 बहुत गिफ्ट किए मैंने लोगों को. I think
ठीक है.
50 तो 50 प्लस कॉपीज तो कर ही चुका हूँ. Second is let me think. Yeah, I liked I'm not getting the name exactly, but I think journey of यार German book है, German writer है.
अच्छा.
So it's from World War II. वो
अच्छा.
Journey for a Meaningful Life, something around it. वो वैसे है.
यार क्या तो था यार मुझे याद है इस नाम का पता. वो I know the
वो
book name.
छोटी सी किताब है.
हाँ बहुत powerful है. They start with the war and the
Yes,
crisis in the war.
yes,
Yeah,
correct.
I know.
Yeah.
कुछ तो है.
वो बहुत impactful book है, right? मतलब when you'll read it, you'll understand कि हाँ चलो your life is not all that bad.
Right. Third book.
Third is third. Let me think. What time हो गया यार?
Figuring out by Amar Dixit.
Not really यार. So I'm reading this. Exact word मुझे नहीं है, but नवल रविकांत की
क्या
किताब.
नाम है उसका?
Almanac,
Alchemist. लंबा सा नाम है कुछ. Almanac of Ramanujan. It's such a good book. That तो I think people
that
should
book I
read.
like. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. काफी
Makes sense.
practical book. It has a lot of
Correct. Covers every
insights for you
aspect of
to.
your life.
Yes. So that book I like.
Second
उसके
question.
अलावा I've started reading Osho and also वो चलता रहता है थोड़ा.
Which one? Yeah.
ओशो की एक किताब है वो मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ.
Osho थोड़ा sorry, I think I should not
Yes.
say. ठीक है
Yes,
चलो.
yes,
ये तो
yeah,
रहा
yeah,
देंगे.
yeah.
Coming to the second question.
Sure.
A life hack you wish you would know earlier in your phase of college when you
Yes.
were navigating things.
So I think यार मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि if you are working with good people हो जाता है काम, right? I thought कि only working is enough. You don't have to be in front. आप अच्छा काम करते रहो चल जाता है. But मुझे this is something that I realized later that it's also important to show that you are doing good work, right? You have to be publicly visible and available. You have to be you have to be your own cheerleader, right? In a way you'll have to tell world क्या कर रहे हो आप, क्या कैसा काम कर रहे हो. So वो मुझे बहुत बाद में realize हुआ. I think I have lost some opportunity. I don't regret them, but I think अगर पहले पता होता तो शायद और better काम
आपकी एज कैसे है?
हाँ
आपकी एज क्या है नास?
यार I am 25.
25.
Yes.
Then no makes sense.
ये मैंने realize किया 23.
ना इतना नहीं हुआ है दूसरा.
नहीं ठीक.
अच्छा थर्ड क्वेश्चन. क्या क्वेश्चन था? सॉरी भूल गया मैं. एक सेकंड. क्वेश्चन मेरे पास है, मैं थोड़ा भूल गया हूँ गाइस. कोई बात नहीं है.
काट हो जाएगा तो.
नहीं काटने वाला है क्या प्रेशर. बेस्ट लाइफ हैक ये तो मैंने पूछ लिया. हाँ बेस्ट लाइफ हैक सो फार सबसे मतलब एक्शनेबल एक ऐसी चीज. इट कैन बी आउटरीच करो, कोल्ड मेल लिख दो या फिर एनीथिंग सिमिलर टू दैट. यार दिस इज समथिंग यू शुड.
I think so for me negative positive दोनों हो सकता है.
हाँ
मेरा जिस पॉइंट पे जो मन किया मैंने वो किया, right? If I if I'm if I'm listening to a podcast and I feel like I should write to the podcaster, मैंने वो उस टाइम पे immediately
Yeah.
उनको मेल किया.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
they were kind and they reverted, right? And I was able to create some network, right? I was able to get in touch with them. And वो general feeling थी और उस point पे लगा करना चाहिए कर दिया.
yeah. And you convey. आप अपनी
I
तक नहीं
convey.
रखते हो. You
I
convey
conveyed
right
my
away.
thought. Yes.
Makes sense. Makes
Yes.
sense. Makes sense. Last question, sir.
हाँ.
What advice would you give to a younger Amar Dixit who is starting his journey at age of what 11, 12? You started your journey.
I started
And
11,
having some life
but then
crisis.
not everyone should start at 11.
I mean,
but
you have to start.
हाँ.
Not everyone,
Yeah, I think-
having a similar life. So, what advice would you give to a younger self of yourself, young founder, anyone who is going to have a phase of life which is difficult and they want to create value for them, for their society?
Difficult है. What advice will I give?
इतना अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा मैंने.
यार difficult है, सोचा नहीं इस बारे में.
अभी सोच. And then we'll end this.
I think it has to be. I think if you can probably learn, and this is something that I've seen people losing, right? Persistence is something that people are forgetting, right? मतलब be it relationship, be it your own work, आप 6 महीने करते हो, 1 साल करते हो, आप छोड़ देते हो, नहीं चल रहा, right? If I would have also done the same, right? Probably in when I was starting up earlier in my career, right? Because it has worked for me. I've tried a lot of different things, but if I'll probably look back, I can say यार शायद इस पे थोड़ा और time काम करता तो ये भी fruitful हो सकता था. Although I don't regret any of it, but probably yes.
There's an angle to it.
Yes.
आप कुछ try कर रहे हो but it's
Yeah.
not working.
Yes.
How would you know that this is the time to stop? Is approach to the life maybe that you have the perseverance to
Yes.
continue doing,
Yes.
figuring it out, and maybe
So-
micro level pay you are aware that this is the time to stop doing this and accept that this hasn't worked. How do you draw that line?
It's very very difficult here. I don't think so. बहुत conflicting opinions हैं, right? If
या
you'll
आपस
ask-
में कहीं मर्जी
it all-
होती है eventually.
I don't know. Some people will say कि there's this saying that if it is for rope वाला जो है, right? If it is hurting you, you should let it go, right? To stop further damage, right? If you are holding a rope for too long and it's carrying some weight, and if you are continuously holding it, right, then it's hurting you in a way. You have to let it go. At the same time, if you'll
Good analogy.
if you'll probably look at some other example, कि you may not वो mines वाले examples आपने देखे होंगे, right? That you were digging a mine and एक point पे आप रुके and उसके ही next step
Correct.
diamonds were there. So दोनों ही चीजें हैं, बड़े contrasting opinions हैं if you'll ask people, right?
Yeah, I think you explain it in a very structured way.
Yeah.
आपने आंसर कर दिया, I think. But yes, thank you so much, Amar sir, coming here, sharing all of it. I think we really have a lot of actionable for ourselves. I think the stage where we
Oh,
are, all of this is very helpful, and I'm sure many people will learn.
Think-
And your followers gonna know who are
नहीं भाई,
you.
I don't have any followers. मतलब this is like the first podcast I'm doing, and the only reason I'm doing it, and the I think the crux of this conversation is, and you should probably mention it. I'm not doing it. No, I'm not doing it with the intention that I've done it all. I'm still
Yeah.
doing a lot of things. I'm still on my journey. So if people can find it helpful, I think I've done
I'm sure many
my
people
work.
will
Yeah.
learn. Thank you so much, sir. All
Thank
the
you,
best.
Ray.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for doing
Thank
it.
you.
Whoosh.